What's the marginal cost of production of a fiat unit? Zero. It's worth zero. It's a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper describing what you believe it has, and you're valuing, and most people are pricing the world from something that has no value over time. It's going to zero, against Bitcoin anyways. We've never lived in a global free market for any length of time. As a derivative, we've always lived in a control system, and that control system that was through broken money kept on getting worse and worse till a time where it would convince people to go to war. We know that the free market, the natural state of a free market, is deflation. Right? We know that in a free market, prices tend to fall to the marginal cost of production. So just from those two statements, if those are true, it's also true that we've never lived in a global free market for any length of time. As a derivative, we've always lived in a control system, and that control system that was through broken money kept on getting worse and worse till a time where it would convince people to go to war.
Jeff Booth is a visionary leader, technology entrepreneur, and best-selling author of The Price of Tomorrow. In this video, Booth discusses the profound dislocation in our global economic system. He argues that, given the rapid advancement of technology, including AI, we should be experiencing deflation, lower prices for goods, rather than inflation. Yet this isn't the reality we face today. Over the past 5,000 years, money has evolved, shaping economies, societies, and civilizations. Its history is closely tied to inflation, the gradual rise in prices, and the decline in purchasing power. Booth's thesis is that a truly free market is inherently deflationary and operates without control. However, today's excessive money printing by central authorities exerts control over people's wealth and value without them knowing it. Booth sees Bitcoin as a solution to this recurring issue, with its decentralized nature potentially breaking the cycle of centralization and excessive money printing, paving the way for a more deflationary, free market economy. As we bring you more clips from the interview, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel to help us reach more viewers. Don't forget to turn on post notifications to stay updated with our latest content. Share your thoughts and observations in the comment section below. Thank you, and enjoy the video.
First split the country, then convince people to go to war, to reset currency, to then start again. 5,000 years of human history prove to us that we've never had a truly global free market for any length of time. And another first principle is free markets are far more productive, because there's more shots on net so when the U.S., the entire Constitution and bill, everything around the U.S. was around creating a free market to get out of the trap of Britain, right, and to give individual rights and freedoms to people. And the Constitution was a document to protect those rights, which created a superpower out of those rights, because it was more productive. People moved from all over the world to the U.S. to take advantage of that, more productive. And then it too got captured over time. And the capture over time, because it happens so slowly, people don't notice it's happening. So the Constitution or Magna Carta before that, anytime you introduced individual rights and freedoms, economy was more productive, and it created a trend to people moving there to take advantage of that, and you saw more opportunities, and we are a part of that. So you could see individual times throughout history that it was more free in a certain market, and the abundance that was created out of that, and then over time that abundance would get captured by the state, and it would trend towards something else, more controlled, and then it would trend towards capitulating on itself and going to war to try to reset the currencies, and then you'd promise not to do it again, and it would start again, right? So that's an entire history through the monetary lens of us, and saying, if really, in 5,000 years of human history, we've never had a globally free market for any length of time, and so that's a fact, right? And so, out of that fact, or out of that first principle, then we always must have lived in a control system, and that control system would have to capture our attention, more and more of it, capture more of our individual rights and freedoms, to be able to gain control over us and convince us that it was okay to go to war and create in the name of freedom, right? No history book has ever seen it. No economic system has ever seen it. No political system has never seen it. And then we have a new protocol bounded by energy, open, decentralized, and secure protocol bounded by energy, Bitcoin, which imposes the free market, which for the first time in history you couldn't cheat that. So it imposes all prices relative to Bitcoin falling forever to the marginal cost of production. And every new person that's moving their time into that system is adding their intelligence, ideas, acceleration to the free market, which is prices in Bitcoin will tend towards the marginal cost of production, or prices forever will fall against Bitcoin. That's what it would look like. And I say, if it stays decentralized and secure, then it's also true that we've always measured a system by the system, and we're inside that system measuring the system. And it's also true that we couldn't measure Bitcoin because there's nothing to measure it against yet. Or you can measure other things against it, prices falling, and you'd see all prices fall, energy prices fall, house prices fall, all prices fall, according to Bitcoin, which you would expect to happen. But now go back to, if in 5,000 years we've never had a currency that has resisted that manipulation, then we must be one of the things, all of us must be part of the equation that allows the centralization. We must be, because there are lots of smart people in 5,000 years of human history that knew the same things we're talking about now, and all currencies have always been centralized. If that's true, and it is true, right? We know it's true. Then you'd have to have a really high bar on the attacks that were going to come to Bitcoin, like a staggeringly high bar on why it would likely be centralized, and what would happen to be able to centralize it, because most people fall into the trap throughout history of pricing in whatever currency they're in and allowing that centralization, essentially making trade-offs, short-term trade-offs versus long-term. And if we've never gotten out of it before, what's to think that we would this time? So that's the high bar that I think of Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin layer 1 being decentralized and secure for now 15 years, and getting more secure, more decentralized. I'm not saying that there aren't still some risks there. I'm not saying mining pools, but what I can see is, I think enough people understand what this means for humanity, and what they're doing is constantly vigilantly looking for risks, and rectifying and becoming, that's kind of in Bitcoin maxi terms, that's what you're doing, right? You're vigilant for attack vectors, and you're constantly looking for attack vectors, because once you're out of this crazy matrix, and you also know what the high importance of decentralized security for humankind going forward. You know why that's such an important concept. So I think that Bitcoin layer 1, I see very little risk in layer one because of what I just said. But probably 2-3 years ago, I said, okay, if I knew everything I know, and there's lots of smart people around, they must know everything too. And you lost layer one. You couldn't choke off layer one. You couldn't stop it. It kept on going. How would you stop Bitcoin at layer two and then use layer two to attack layer one? And I think we're really early in the path of that actually happening. And why would that happen if you just tie the 5,000 years? Because most people are pricing in US dollars. They're pricing Bitcoin in US dollars. They're pricing all their assets in US dollars. And these two systems are incongruent together. One is the free market, prices fall forever. One is prices rise forever. They're completely incompatible. And when somebody says they're compatible, they're not. They're only compatible if you subsume the base layer and you can fractionalize it to make prices go up. Your mental model, and most people's mental model of how the world works, is based on the flawed assumption that prices go up. And they don't have you could say, you don't have the architecture in your brain until you hear it multiple times to hang this idea off of that prices should fall. So you can hear the words, the free market is deflationary, and then you could go right back to the world you live in, and you go, and then you might not be able to see that the world that you're living in, prices going up, has to be based on theft then. And you might not see you can't connect the dots because it's so hard until you realize the depth of what I said when I said the free market is deflationary, the natural state of the free market. And why is that so? It's really easy. You only use things that give you more value. And every entrepreneur globally is competing to try to give you more value. And not just every entrepreneur, every person who is working for an entrepreneur. Every team is trying to compete to give you more value on a global competitive level. So the only reason that couldn't reach you in giving you more value is something stopping it from giving you more value. And what's stopping it from giving you more value is massive monetary printing to extract that wealth that should flow to you in the form of lower prices. And by the way, let's just stay on that for a second. So if that's true, and then Walker, you start a business tomorrow, and if you don't automate your business and remove labor with AI and machines, then no one uses your business and your business fails. And so you're forced to, you have to be more competitive. It's ruthless to be more competitive. And then the output of that is people win because prices fall. If we lived in that world, then today, and you can't know this exact number because it's unknowable from the existing system, but I would project that the natural rate of deflation in the market today is about 5%. So every year you would get richer by 5%, even if you did nothing. But the next year, because more people would join that, more competition, the next year would be 7.5%. The next year would be 15%. You get richer by 15% a year or 30% a year as technology, AI, automation, robots do more of the work and allow prices to fall faster. And every day, every year, you're getting richer. And as 8 billion people move, because today we have a system that where really you have 500 million winners, or really a small fraction of 500 million winners, like 8 people with 50% of the wealth of the world. And then you have another balance which are the 1%ers, and then you have the rest of 500 million who are extracting from 7.5 billion people. And those 7.5 billion people, they cannot think like we're thinking right now to be able to contribute to a world that's getting better and better. They're stuck as slaves in an operating system, scared to death of how do I make enough money to pay my bill, which perpetuates the slavery further and further and further, and they're getting further and further away, and they're wondering, how do I keep up? So they're so driven away from a productive society. They're stuck in that loop. And so I have massive empathy for why many of those people can't see what I'm talking about, because they're so far away from what's happening. It would be easy to believe somebody else can solve their problem.
That's our video for today, featuring Jeff Booth discussing deflation, inflation, fiat currency, and Bitcoin. We hope you found value in Jeff's insightful analysis. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share your comments and observations in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others. Thanks for watching.